Hello, rescue unit. Whereabouts? Okay, we're on our way. Guys, we've got an emergency.
Okay, let's go.
The Research and Rescue Unit at Gardenston is on call 24 hours a day.
But this is no ordinary rescue service. Kevin and his team of volunteers save hundreds of animals every year which get stranded on the beaches. They then return them to the sea.
The Coast Guard was waiting for us when we arrived.
Right, well, we've heard that there's a whale stranded on a beach somewhere near here, so we're going to see if we can see anything. Can you see anything?
Yes, there's a whale down over there.
See? Oh yeah, I can see it now. So what do we need to do next?
Right, we've got to get kitted up, Connie, as quickly as possible. Speed of response is the most important thing in terms of Australian. So let's get the gear, let's get our vet, and let's get down there and stabilise the animal.
It was a race against the clock. The chances are when a creature is stranded, it could have been there for several hours by the time it's spotted.
Wendy, can you organise 2 teams of 4?
I'll just do that, over.
As a vet, it's Vicky's job to approach an animal first to see what condition it's in.
Can you get us a team down from Thurso? We might need support. It's a big one.
Okay, so Vicky, what do we have to do now?
The first thing we need to do is for me to assess the animal to make sure that it's still alive and that what injuries it have aren't so bad that it won't be able to go back to sea.
Meanwhile, a second team were cordoning off the area so that members of the public didn't interfere with the rescue operation.
Okay, I admit, this isn't a real whale. Thank goodness it's actually an inflatable one, but unfortunately whales do get stranded and it's important that rescuers know how to deal with it. That's why whales like Moby, as we've nicknamed him, come into play. They can practice on him before encountering a real-life situation.
Moby is a replica of a pilot whale. He weighs around 2 tons, which is similar to a real whale. The first thing we had to do was to keep him wet, as whales aren't used to being on land. While we were tending to Moby, Kevin was teaching the second team how to prepare the inflatable pontoon, which was going to be used to help refloat the whale.
My side, deploy this as tight underneath me as you can. That part.
What we're doing next is we're going to put jelly around the blowhole and around the eyes to keep that moist as well, because obviously we can't put water near the blowhole because it will go down and choke the animal.
Just noticed that Dave's wearing a visor. Why is that?
Dave's wearing a visor because he's the person looking after the blowhole. And you can pick up chest infections from whales and dolphins. You can also pick up skin infections, which is why we're wearing the gloves.
So I should put my gloves on then?
In water, whales don't notice their weight, but on land they feel very heavy, which is why we had to rock Moby to make him more comfortable. The Cetacean Research and Rescue Unit rely on volunteers. They're often helped by the British Divers Marine Life Rescue and the SSPCA. Marine animals like whales and seals often get into trouble around here. Sometimes they lose their sense of direction, particularly if they're ill, and sometimes bad weather causes them to lose their bearings.
We're just attaching the pontoons at the moment so that we can float the whale, because as you can imagine it's a very difficult job to get something so huge out to sea that is extremely heavy. We're filling up the pontoons with air from the back so as not to scare the whale or alarm it, because it must be very nervous as it is.
Okay, she's doing well. We've got her in a stable position.
She's doing well. So how close is this to the real thing?
Just last weekend we had a strand of a live minke whale over on the Isle of Skye. She was a baby, but she was a very similar size to this animal, a slightly longer, I would say, but not quite as bulky.
The minke whale had got separated from its mum and ended up stranded in a loch. It was the first time the team had used their new pontoon. It took 30 hours to return her to the open sea. Thankfully, our rescue didn't take quite as long.
We have to wait for the tide to come in so that we can get her floated on the water, and all the while we're sort of comforting her.
Ready, guys?
Here we go.
No way.
Come on, guys.
operation, which involves open water, is dangerous. It was extremely cold and the sea was very rough. This may not have been a real rescue, but it did make me realise the skill and dedication of these volunteers.